All right, hello to you, star seeds, wanderers, awakening ones, descended masters. Today I want to share a few words about something that's been very topical for the past year and a half, and that is the subject of COVID. And this is a subject that gets people quite hot under the collar. And I, for a while, have been quite confused by what I see happening in the world, and especially in the New Age community, which seems to be quite split about this, with people holding very opposite views. I would like to share something that puts this into some perspective, I hope, and also bearing in mind that the highest point here is free will. So nothing I say is to be taken as absolute truth. It's just the truth that appears to me and from my heart in this moment, and you take it as that, and if anything, you use it to find your own truth. Okay. So now there's this idea with the COVID that some people are fine with the vax and we're just getting on with our lives and it's not an issue, and then there are teachers and people putting out that this is a control issue and it's about sovereignty and it's about something in the vaccines and this is something quite bad, and behind the scenes there's a plot, and it used to be about Bill Gates. I don't know what's happened to him now, if he's still involved apparently, but there's some kind of plot and there's some kind of power grab and takeover, and it's about sovereignty. So those are your two camps, and ordinary people would feel quite split by this and feeling having to make a choice, and seeing your friends going one way and you going another way and not understanding really the middle ground or how it fits together. So let's take it this way. There's a lot of triggered material on this either way, and when we get triggered we move out of heart space and heart-centeredness and the now, and then we lose track of what is true for us, our own truth. So what's been confusing for me is to see spiritual teachers who I've followed suddenly acting very triggered and speaking from what I consider triggered space and projecting shadow onto the situation. Now, perhaps we can backtrack a little bit and find this place that is not as triggered, because it's almost certain that nobody really knows quite exactly the truth of what's going on. So I have my position, but I know it's not necessarily the ultimate truth, because nobody can see that. It's just what, according to my nature, how I feel the situation is and what I do with that. And I feel fairly untriggered by that. I'm triggered by the people I don't understand. So I've been trying to figure out what I don't understand, where they're coming from. And it boils down to this thing of triggered. So I'm triggered by them. I'm not triggered by the situation. And this trigger's got something to do with we're out of heart space. So I want to bring myself into that heart space, to feel heart space for people I don't understand and positions I don't understand, because we're kind of all in this together and nobody really knows what the hell's going on. So you only can go with what your heart space tells you. So we'll do a little experiment to figure out what's going on, at least for you. Now the way to do this is to get into heart space and to feel into the body what is true for you. Now there is an ultimate truth, like just say this COVID, just say there's an ultimate truth that it is a plot and people are controlling the world through this vaccine, whatever they want to. Just say that's the ultimate truth. We can't absolutely know it here. All you can really go on is to find the heart space that is untriggered, no matter what the actual situation is. Get it? We have that humility to know that we don't know really what's going on. So we've got to return to the place where we are in our sovereignty, no matter how unsovereign the world situation is. Okay, that's the starting point. Let's try this thing. So we'll do a thought experiment, and I'll walk you through two scenarios. and then you can see and feel which one feels more true for you. So just sort of settle in and get comfortable, and I will try to give a fair overview of two positions. And if I don't account for your position, just fill in the gaps. Scenario 1 is, there's a plot. COVID was either created so that we can have the vaccine, or the vaccine was just created by itself, and people are pushing it on others, and there's something in the vaccine and something to do with that is about control. People are making a lot of money out of it. At a darker level, it could be that there is kind of like an Illuminati who is trying to control and have a power grab of the world. There's something in the vaccines that will do something to us, something that will take over. You really need to be afraid of these vaccines. And for YouTube bosses, I'm not saying this is a fact. This is just, I'm giving a scenario. This is what is being said. So you who are listening to this and who feel that this is where you've been operating at, just take this scenario in and just feel how it feels in your body. We must definitely not have the vaccine. There's something wrong with it. Masks is a way to control. It's all about control. I have to rebel. I have to keep my sovereignty. I can't follow along with the sheep. I must do my own thing. Feel into that. And also to those of you who don't have that scenario, who's the opposite of the spectrum, feel into how those words, when I gave that scenario, how it felt for you. So both groups just feel into, how does that feel in your heart and in your body? Do you feel free? Do you feel contracted? Do you feel angry, sad? Nothing. Neutral. Yeah. That's scenario 1. So now we're going to scenario 2, and this is the other side of the spectrum, where COVID is really just an illness. It's a virus, and it creates something just like a flu, basically. It's a little bit more contagious. It's a little bit more deadly. It fills up hospitals. It comes in waves. It's not really an issue because it's a natural thing that's happened. It's come from nature, or if it escaped from a lab, who cares? It's now part of reality. Vaccines are a wonderful invention that enable us to get some sort of protection and boost the immune system. And if we take these vaccines, we will avoid the serious consequences. We might still get COVID, but we avoid the serious consequences. We stop clogging up hospitals, fewer deaths, quicker getting on with our lives. We wear masks because that's just what you do. You're protecting others. It's not for me, it's for others. It's just really it's an inconvenience, but it's a non-issue. There's nobody controlling the situation. And in fact, there might even be something positive about it. It's changing the world. It might seem traumatic now, but it's changing the world. It's bringing people together. It's been a marvelous scientific effort to create these vaccines, to distribute them. If you live in a poorer country, developing country like I do, you'll see the massive effort that has been put into distributing it, and that can be a positive thing if you believe that there's nothing really going on. It could be a draconian thing if you believe there is something going on. So both sides, no matter which side you fall on, feel into how this scenario feels in your body, in your heart. Does it feel lighter? Is there any constriction in it? So you just take a moment just to feel how this scenario feels for you. And don't think it, just feel it in the body. Like this is a non-issue, we're just getting through it. It'll be over one of these days. We'll change the world, probably for the better. Okay. So now you've got these two. Okay. Now my question to you is, which one from the heart feels most true for you? And it's quite okay which one you choose. Which scenario feels most true? There'd be like an inner yes to one of them. Okay, then the next question is, which one feels better? I feel into it's a plot, and feel into there's nothing going on, it's just natural. Because sometimes they're the same. Sometimes your inner truth will align with yes, it feels good, but sometimes you'll feel bad, but you'll feel that that's the truth. Okay. To take a moment to feel into that, which feels true, which feels better. Okay, so now you're closer to what your heart truth is. And this is the truth that you want to explore. And you can do that in a kind of non-triggered way. So if you felt, well, there is really a plot going on and that felt right to me, then you can be free to explore that. And you don't have to worry about what the other people believe. You can just explore that. That's how you stay in your integrity. Okay. And the other side, if you feel that was better, then you can explore that. Okay, you don't have to worry about what the anti-vaxxers are doing. You stay in your heart center. Stay within your truth. Okay. Now, of course, the question comes up, but what about objective truth? What if there is a truth? What if we really are being controlled? So here's the thing. Even if we are being controlled, and even if this is a takeover by Illuminati or lizards, aliens, whatever, if it is, then we're already pretty screwed. They've won, basically. To pull this off, this massive effort around the world, with doctors, nurses, even family members kind of involved in it, it's so huge that they've pretty much won. So you can give up struggling. And the thing to do is then to find a way, how can I regain my sense of sovereignty, which is simply, sovereignty is not, I've got to fight against you. Sovereignty is, I'm pulling it back, I'm leaving the field of this conflict, because I can't win at this level. You can't beat, if it's true that it's a plot, we can't beat them at that level. We have to go into ourselves, back into our peace, back into our truth. And this is where your emotional guidance system comes in. So if you are one who believes, yes, it is a plot, and it makes you feel kind of bad and angry and triggered, that bad, angry trigger is your higher self telling you that the way you're thinking about this is not aligned with your higher self. It's not saying about the truth of the situation, it's just saying the way you think about it. So what it's saying is, can you find a way to come back into heart space, to come back into at least neutrality, into the now, and to deal with the situation as it is from a non-triggered, non-threatened space? Then you've regained your sovereignty. If it is a plot and the will is taken, then it's pretty much done. So what you're going to do is, well done, lizards, you have won the third dimension. Good for you. You've inherited a lump of rock and clay and water and meat machines. Well done. I am returning the sovereignty to me. The I is untetherable, as it cannot be captured. It can only be captured when you believe that there's a plot going that you have to oppose. There's a point where opposition can work in the beginning levels if you have a fair chance of winning. But it's way bigger than that, if it is a thing. So find your way back to peace with the situation as it is. Then from peace, ask what wants to happen. It can be simply you taking your own choices, but you're doing it calmly. So like if you feel triggered by wearing a mask, just know that there's a story in it. For me, a mask is just it's a piece of cloth put over my face when I go outside. It's an inconvenience. So there's no story. It's like a minimal story there. And a little bit of story I have is that this is to protect others, just in case there is something and I'm infectious or whatever. It's not a big deal. So what you want to do is look for where are the small things that have become a big deal. So don't be one of those people who boards a plane and refuses to wear a mask, because you know you're going to get ejected and it's going to be a scene, and you've actually lost your sovereignty by buying into that conflict. You want to just go under the radar and keep yourself complete in yourself, no matter what you believe. For me, my position is, it's a thing like a flu. It broke out either out of a lab or it came from China or somewhere. Who cares? It came from nature. It's here. The vaccines is a huge scientific breakthrough. The world is working together. This is something positive. It's tearing down the old ways, tearing down patriarchy, systems. It is very uncomfortable for us now, but it's going to create a new world. And don't be triggered by a new world. This is a new beneficial world, which is less about just making money. It's more heart-centered. Something had to happen to break it down, the structure. So that's my story. This story allows me to be relatively untriggered by it. My only trigger, as I said, was not understanding the ones who see it as a big plot, because I just can't see the logic of it. But I'm prepared to admit that I could be wrong and that you guys could be right. But here's the thing. If it turns out that Bill Gates has manufactured this whole thing, or somebody, Illuminati, has manufactured this thing, first I'll experience a moment of shock, then will come acceptance, and then will come, well, then we're pretty fucked anyway, so let's just maintain our sovereignty and do what we can with what we have. And then we have to go deeper into ourselves, into the I am, to the ever-free, the formless I am, the I am. Okay, find your freedom, because the creepy crawlies, if they have taken over the world, they can't get you. They can only get you third dimension and lower 4D. If you play in their game, if you oppose them, you're opposing them in that arena, they will win. They will win by dragging you into a conflict which will never end. It's like, right at this moment in time, Afghanistan has just collapsed. Americans are withdrawing. There's lots of shit going on there. They've been there for 20 years. That is a conflict that's not going to win at that level. Okay, so think of that as the metaphor of the level of engagement that's going to pull you into this thing, and you're not going to win it. It's going to oppose you every step of the way, because that's how 3D works, and lower fourth dimension entities. Now we're getting into esoteric stuff, but if that's what's real for you, leave the field. Don't even go there. You shouldn't even shouldn't even have gone into Afghanistan in the first place, because that was a flippin' trap waiting to happen. So don't fall for the same thing here. Don't mess with the creepy crawlies in their terrain, unless you really think there's a quick win that can be had there and you can withdraw. Doubtful. So my position is, I'm taking the positive view. If it turns out that I'm wrong, I'm completely prepared to be wrong. But then that's a huge thing for the world, and the world is pretty then screwed. And then we've all got to pull together to make it right. And then that'll be the unifying moment. And the only way then to make it right, there'll be nobody to fight. We've got to then withdraw to the I am, to the fifth dimension level. So then it's a good thing again, because it's pushed us to 5D, unless you keep opposing this thing. So here's, you just go under the radar. You know, Star Wars at first one, and Obi-Wan, they get stopped by the stormtroopers, and he says to them, these are not the droids you're looking for. Just make a little spell. These are not the droids you're looking for. This is not me you're looking for. Wear your mask, whatever it does to be invisible. Don't be visible to creepy crawlies. Simple truth. Just chill. If there is something you can oppose, do it from the heart, do it from power. Do it from, this feels right and I feel harmonious, I'm in alignment. I'm going to write an article saying why masks are not effective. That's cool. do that. But then it's logically argued, it's non-triggered. We can all deal with if something's logically argued and it's not triggering and it reaches and speaks to other people as human beings, you can be persuaded. I'm totally open to being persuaded. I won't be persuaded by people who use all capital letters and shout and scream and don't prove anything. If you can show me some proof, I'm open to persuasion. And then we should all be open to that. And then we've got a different fight on our hands, and the way to do that is to, once again, stay in the heart. Do not oppose. Do not oppose. Straight ahead. Be in yourself and do your truth. Speak from your truth. And back that truth up with, if you're going to make an absolute statement, make sure you can prove it. I'm not making any absolute statements here. I'm making suggestions, and I'm saying kind of where I stand, and I'm saying that where I stand is subject to change given new evidence. So I'm not triggered there. So I've left that field, my sovereignty feels for me intact. And even if the creepy crawlies are winning, my sovereignty will still stay. And even if my vaccine has got something in it, I'm still I. And I will concede whatever those creepies have won. If they pull this off and vaccinated half the world or more, well done, dudes. Well done. Fuck, you've won some meat machines. Good for you. This is not the arena where actually you're going to win anything. So I'm withdrawing from that. You can have the body, you can have, render unto Caesar what is Caesar's. That's the meaning. Just take it. We make the new earth from the heart. And the creepies can't go there. Okay. I'll stop talking now. That's a long thing. I hope that's brought some rest. If there's anything I've said that triggers you, just breathe into it. Find your own truth. Feel free to disagree with me. If you want to comment on the video, please just don't use caps and shout. Breathe first, then leave a comment, and I will read as many as I can. And maybe I'm persuaded, and I totally don't mind being persuaded otherwise. Okay, let's leave it there. Stay in the heart center. God bless.